Hello, my name is Jim. Welcome to my booktube channel about books, reading and stuff. Or Signebi, Kitqua, Niftebi. Today I'm coming to you with another tag. I know it's not Tuesday, but I put out videos on Wednesdays and Sundays and I put out lots of tag videos. I appreciate the community aspect of sticking to the rules and putting out tags on Tuesdays, but I'm not doing this. This tag is the translated literature book tag. I was tagged by Katja Weinert, and the original tag was by Diana at Thoughts on Papyrus, which is a blog, not a YouTube channel. I'll link to both sources in the notes below. Prompt number 1. A translated novel you would recommend to everyone. For this I would choose We the Drowned by Carsten Jensen. This is a novel translated from the Danish. I read it last year. It was my favourite book of last year. It revolves around the seaport of Marstal in Denmark, and it's a multi-generational novel told from 1848 through to 1945. The town of Marstal, most of the men go to sea, and it's their story at sea, and it's also the story of the women left behind, and a lot of men are drowned at sea and how this affects the community. Prompt number 2. A recently read old translated novel you enjoyed. I haven't actually finished this yet. I've read the first book. It's 2 books. This is Mikhail Bulgakov's The Master and Margarita, translated from the Russian. It's about the devil visiting the Soviet Union. It's a satire. It was published posthumously because Bulgakov lived in the Stalinist era, and even to have the manuscript of this would have caused a lot of trouble in the Stalinist era for the author. It was published 26 years after his death, I think, in the 1960s, and first in a Moscow newspaper and later in its full uncensored version. Number 3, a translated novel you just couldn't get into. I'll go with Marcel Proust, In Search of Lost Time, À la recherche du temps perdu. This is really not for me. Prompt number 4, your most anticipated translated novel release. For this I would go with Nights of Plague by Orhan Pamuk, the Turkish writer, which comes out later this year, and it's set on an island which has the plague, set in the Ottoman Empire in about 1901, and with the pandemic coming to an end now, it will be interesting to read this. Prompt number 5, a foreign language author you would love to read more of. For this I won't go with just one author. I'd say Danish fiction in general. I told you already my favourite book from last year was We the Drowned by Carsten Jensen. This year I read this, The Collector by Anne Mette Hancock, another Danish writer. This is Scandinavian noir. I really like both of these novels, and I'd like to explore more Danish fiction. I think I have some great connection with Denmark. When I was a child in school, my projects were always about the Vikings. I was very interested in Danelaw in England, the northern part of England in the 800s and 900s was controlled by the Danish king. And yeah, so I've enjoyed all that I've read from Danish authors so far, and as a child as well. The fairy tales of Hans Christian Andersen, I preferred those to those of the Brothers Grimm. Prompt number 6, a translated novel which you consider to be better than the film. My first thought here was The Kite Runner, and then by Khaled Hosseini, and I saw The Kite Runner was actually published in English. But it is a translated novel because it's been translated into 42 languages, so I'm still going with that. The book is far superior, in my opinion, to the film. Because it's a coming-of-age novel, and the book really gets into the head of the protagonist. Prompt number 7, a translated philosophical fiction you would recommend. If you've been watching my channel regularly, it'll be no surprise I recommend L'Étranger, The Outsider by Albert Camus for this prompt. It's a book I've read a few times. I've read it in English and I've read it in French. It's an amazing book. Prompt number 8. A translated fiction book that's been on your TBR for far too long. These are my Georgian books, mostly Georgian books in English translation. This one has been on my shelf for a while. This is Rafflesia by Alice Dodgson. Alice Dodgson is a nom de plume, a pen name. I haven't got to reading it yet. The translation is by Ekaterina Machidze, who also translated this book, The Secret of Another Desert, which I did read, and the translation was not very good, so I'm a bit reluctant to read this. It's been on my TBR for a while. Number 9. A popular translated fiction book you have not yet read. For this I'll go with Émile Zola's Germinal. I haven't read anything by Émile Zola. And Elisabeth at bouquinsbooks heartily recommends Zola. So having loved Dickens in English literature, I'd like to have a look at his French counterpart, as it were. Prompt number 10. A translated fiction book you have heard a lot about and would like to find out more about or read. For this I'll go with At Night All Blood is Black by David Diop. Katja mentioned this when she did the tag, and I've heard lots of booktubers rave about this book, set in the First World War, about 2 Senegalese soldiers fighting in the trenches, and one of them dies and the other one goes a bit crazy. It sounds a fascinating read. And finally, who do I tag? Well, I'll tag Anna Wallace Johnson, Andy Smith, Ange at Ange's Book Chatter, and Anne Novella. Anne Novella specialises in translated fiction, and she reads in English, she also reads in Dutch, and she reads in French, as she lives in Belgium. If you enjoyed this video, you can like and subscribe below, and I will say goodbye, au revoir, auf Wiedersehen, nachwamdis, salam, ciao, chido, görüşürüz, sayonara, hasta luego, hasta luego.